All right.
All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. After a little bit of technical difficulties, I'm here with the Inflatable Band, and I've actually been really enjoying doing these calls remotely. I know the pandemic kind of forced them, but it makes it easier for me. I don't have to go somewhere. I can just like sit at home in my basement and talk to people. But in this case, I mean, last time I had you guys on the show, it was a very active environment, I guess you could call it. You did a lot of live performances, and we were in that cool little jam space. And so in situations like this, I miss having the opportunity to actually go and see guests on the podcast like in person. But this is what we got for now, because things are how they are. So I think the best way to start this off is if the four of you would like to introduce yourselves and what you play in the band, and then people can just put a name to the voice.
I'm Jordan, and I play bass.
And Jordan's the newest member of the band.
Yeah.
Cool.
Last time we were with you, Jordan had not yet joined.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Like I'm the new guy, but I've been in for like 2 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had you on the show for sure. So yeah.
I'm Jeff. I scream and I hit a guitar and I play theremin.
I'm Curtis. I sing and play guitar.
And I'm Jesse. I play the drums.
So I think that that helps obviously for people who are listening to know who's talking to who. But I wanted to start off with the shittiest question ever, is just like, how do you define what the Inflatable Band is? Because I have an idea, but I also haven't heard you in a couple of years, and maybe things have changed since the last record, and since I saw you perform for the podcast, like I was just talking about. So I don't even remember if last time we determined this horrible question of what is the genre, and I don't know if there is one for the Inflatable Band, but what do you call it at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about this a lot, especially since the last time we talked. And, it's something that we don't really intellectualize because it's all about feel. It's down, we're really into the idea of the jam. And I think that whatever we are, it just comes out of our collective record collections. It's not an intellectual process where we sit down in a room before we play and say, oh, well, let's do some songs tonight that are like sound like a goth band or something like that. It's free flowing. We're all about the jam, and we're all about the instantaneousness of the moment. And so quite often that'll be like a punk rock kind of thing. Yeah. But we're a little bit more open than that to accepting what comes out.
Well, yeah, and maybe sorry, I was going to say maybe that openness, that jamness of it all, has that been impacted by what everyone's been going through for the past 2 years? Like, have you been able to actually physically get together and jam as much as you would have liked over this whole period?
Not as much as we'd like. I don't think. We had to take a pretty good break at the beginning of everything. Mm-hmm. And it took us a while to get back into it, really.
The real tragedy of the pandemic was that I think that we were literally at the halfway point of making our new album when the pandemic hit. And so that was a big blow. But I think that the cool thing about that is that there's Inflatable Band pre-pandemic and Inflatable Band post-pandemic. And I'm not sure if there's a big difference, but maybe it's discernible.
Yeah, it's not as much of a tragedy as the pandemic itself.
Yeah, of course.
True. Yeah. That's true.
All people dying.
Yeah, that's obviously worse than an album being interrupted for sure. Yeah.
It's a small word bad.
Somewhat, yeah.
It's like it doesn't quite register on any scale, but in our brains.
Yes.
Yeah. We're probably, if you had to put a label on us, some kind of, often it's rooted in punk, but
jam punk.
Yeah, like we at this point there would be a lot of people would say something like psychedelic, or we had garage thrown at us as a pejorative a few times, I think, early on. So, but we do like all kinds of genre gimmick stuff in it as they kind of come out, for sure.
But you know what I feel like? I feel like we're just making songs, and so it's up to other people to make up their own minds what we're doing.
We're a local band genre. We're a local band,
yeah.
Right. Well, that's the thing with any band, right? Once it's out of your hands, once you've recorded and released it, it's completely out of your hands, and then people listening to it are going to put whatever label or whatever feeling they want to it, and you can't control that at all.
Mm.
Yeah, everything starts with
Yeah.
like an improv thing, and like we like all different kinds of music, so there's no genre that's off the table for being a song. We just start playing, and then
Yeah.
sometimes we'll make the corniest sort of pop songs, and that's part of the fun, you know.
Yeah. Well, just to go back to the kind of division between, you know, before pandemic and I guess post pandemic, if you want to call it that now, is there a discernible sound to you guys? Like, do you listen to stuff you recorded? Because it's been a while since this has been going on, right? Do you listen to stuff you recorded then, and does it give you a different feeling than what you're doing now? Like, are you, whether it's subconsciously or not, like influenced by this kind of funk that everyone's been in? Not funk as in genre, but just like, you know, malaise, I guess, that the whole world has been dealing with. Maybe funk as in genre. I don't know.
Subconsciously, there's probably
Yeah.
some degree of it. I
I
think
think we're excited to like get back and jam most of
Yeah,
the
it's
time.
probably more like that, where
yeah.
there's a little low energy maybe at first because
Yeah.
we're out of practice, and then it's just nice to get back into it as a regular thing. I don't know. We kind of started going in a more harder kind of psyche kind of heavier direction.
The new album
And we're
rocks
kind of-
more, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we're going more in that direction now.
Okay.
I think it was, you know,
Yeah.
But
It's just-
also, I think the songs are longer too.
songs are longer. Yeah. And we're trying some more things and stuff. So yeah, I'd say I don't know if there's a big difference between the beginning and now. It seems like we started going in a direction, now we're just more in that direction. Which makes sense.
yeah.
Curtis and I were
That's right.
talking earlier on tonight. Like you were saying, you think we sound less goofy.
Did I say that?
I think so. Maybe that was not
Yeah.
on so many words.
Well, there used to be on our new stuff. There used to be a little bit more of a joke element, which
Yeah.
we still do, but
Yeah.
just the songs that happen to be prime for our next album are less so. I'd say there's less. There is
Yeah.
elements, especially lyrically, that you could say subconsciously have a
We're less
worldly
funny.
influence. Probably. Yeah, we're not as funny.
We're just older and less
Yeah, we're all
Older and more
jaded.
bitter, and yeah, where the world has beaten you down more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that move though, to not with the lyrics, but towards like more psyche stuff? Is that conscious, or is that just kind of had the natural evolution of how this happened? Because again, like you've said a few times already, it all comes out of a jam. It's all kind of you know, something that's developed sort of in the moment. Was anyone trying to sort of steer it in that direction, or did it just sort of, you know, organically go that way?
Sorry. I think like towards the end, like closer to when we recorded our first album, like Jeff had gotten a theremin and a stylophone more recently, and then I got this polychorus pedal where it can make all these crazy sounds, and like and Jordan got a synth, and he wasn't in the band on the first album, so there's different tools that create different elements that naturally put in, and then it just happens naturally after that.
I think that's a good point, because when we recorded our first album, Discount Everything, I think I had gotten the theremin like 1 month before recording. So it was kind of a noisemaker on the first record. And now like I kind of learned how to sort of play it kind of. So that's a big thing.
Also, when
Yeah.
you start a band with like new people, you don't necessarily play for 12 minutes, and you know, we develop a language together that, you know, if you play with different people, you'd have a different language because you're interacting with different energies and
We say
interests.
language, but we don't talk about our songs that much.
I mean, figuratively.
It's all psychic powers.
Yeah.
We've honed our
Yeah,
psychic
that's
powers.
why.
Yeah,
That's-
we're just supposed to
That's
know.
why I say psyche, because we're psychic powers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems like the theremin might be a hub for that, right? It's just like controlling all the mental waves and dispersing them.
Exactly.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manipulating of radio waves.
Yeah.
You kind of just get a giant metal rod that will focus everything.
Yeah, for sure. So just to touch on Discount Everything, I mean, that building burnt down, you know, between the time between when you made that record and now. What was that like? I mean, I know it's not your building, but just that, like, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that in the news. I'm like, oh shit, it's the building from the Inflatable Band album. And I mean, I've been past it thousands of times over the years, but I associate it with that album cover. Like, did you get a bunch of people messaging you? I mean, I probably did.
Yeah.
Mentioning that this was happening.
I did get a lot of people messaging me. Let me tell you about something like that. I've never been inside Discount Everything because, you know, I sort of discovered it one day when I was walking down the street, and I was like lost one summer, and I sort of happened upon it. I don't drive around, so I don't really know these parts of the city so much, but I just thought it was a really enigmatic building. And when it came to the time to make the first record, we had some creative ideas about what to do with the cover art, but nothing was really, we weren't all 100% sold on it. And then sort of as a last minute inspiration, I remembered that enigmatic building and I wanted to go take a picture of it. But yeah, like since that became the album cover, I sort of decided to myself that I never wanted to know what was inside because it would destroy the magic for me, right? And now, as you say, it burnt down.
So you can't know. It's unknowable.
Yeah.
It's unknowable, exactly.
Ineffable.
Yeah.
I was never inside, but going past it was really weird. It was really surreal after it was on the album cover. Yeah, because it was just like my brain could only process it as our album cover come to life somehow.
Yeah.
And that's inside like a dollhouse or
It's
something.
real.
It was weird, yeah.
It's like one of those weird iconic Winnipeg things, like the chicken car wash kind of, where it's just people saw it all the time and they knew it was there, and it just was this thing that you assumed would never go away. But yeah, it's gone. You preserved it for the ages on the album cover.
Good.
We're kind of
Maybe it's a curse. Sorry.
Yeah. What building are you putting on the new one? You got to make sure that.
Well, we just took a picture of that building on Portage.
Actually, it's funny that you say that, Sam, because we have decided, we've talked about, it's not 100% official, but the working title of the new album is called The Neon Factory.
Okay.
or just
It's
Neon Fest.
Yeah, another one of those Winnipeg iconic places. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we might have found a thing.
I think that's the perfect title, actually.
Yeah.
The sound of the album to me.
And we have
Yeah.
a song called Neon Factory as well.
Yeah.
But the Neon Factory and Discount Everything, they're kind of evocative of something, right? I mean, it's like this kind of funny Winnipeg thing that people remember or people see when they're going by. But I mean, it has a vibe to it, right? Both those titles do.
Yeah, the names, the aesthetic of the words, as when you're an album title or a title for anything is, 2 or 3 or 1 word that's to evoke something, that you don't.
Yeah, I mean, and as I said, like when I saw that building, there was something just poetic about the way it looked. I love the way that they hadn't painted it in a while, and I love the way that there were 2, not 1, but 2 payphones set into the side of the building. So late into the cell phone era. There's something magical about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And my experiences in the Neon Factory have been psychedelic.
So it makes sense. It fits.
Mhm.
What is the what's kind of the timeline on this new record now? I mean, I know, like you said, the pandemic sort of interrupted getting it made, but what are you looking at as far as when you're going to release it?
We have a track listing now. Finally, there's a couple like loose ends that we've taken way too long to finish up, like some overdubs and stuff. But I would say late summer or fall it'll be released.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
We just
obviously,
had,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
We just had Paige Drobot lay down some sax parts for us.
Oh, cool. Do you think that's not what I was going to ask about, but this kind of brings up another question there, maybe. Do you think that you've kind of found like your people in Winnipeg as far as bands and other artists that mesh well with you, whether it's being on the same bill as, or just that you kind of have a sense of community with?
I think so. Yeah, we have a stable of bands we've enjoyed playing with, and we've asked to play with us a number of times. I'll just run down a quick list of people. Adyethelamide, see, I can say it. Kiki Cuts, The Vital. Yeah. Who else? Oh, we played with Ponyma recently. Yeah.
Cool.
Freaking Snap was at that show.
Freaking Snap. We played with him a lot too. Yeah.
Famous Sandhogs.
Famous Sandhogs. Our favorite.
Yeah, that's.
I think we talked about the Famous Sandhogs last time, and
Yeah.
the enigma around that character, and I still don't know who it is. I don't want to know. I've gone out of my way to avoid learning who he actually is.
We're lucky enough to be the only band in the city who has as of yet shared the bill with the Famous Sandhogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was
Right.
cool. Well, it took away a little bit of the enigmatic mystery a little bit, but yeah, we partied at the famous Sandhog's house.
Oh wow, that's that's definitely a step towards unraveling the mystery.
Secret underground lair,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he clearly lives in a lair. Yeah, there's no way he has an actual house.
Yeah.
It's a silo.
I didn't find
Why not?
famous sandhogs though. Just unknown sandhogs.
The unknown
Yeah.
Sandhog.
Yeah,
You know,
the infamous sandhogs.
curious sandhogs.
So I know you said just a few minutes ago that the goal is to release this thing in summer, fall kind of time period. Hopefully by then, things will have changed if for the better in terms of being able to play shows and have people at shows. Because I imagine that with a band like yours, this is something you want to present with a performance rather than just here's a CD or here's a download or something, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've talked about recording a live album actually. So
We should.
That'll probably, that would be something we could work on after this album's done.
Whenever we play, we tend to record our shows on Zoom mics, and so we have a vast library of past gigs and so on.
And a vast library of like stuff we'll never use too.
That's
Yeah,
true.
like even our new album is like 80 minutes long.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of music for everyone to enjoy.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that you save everything too, because like I have this obsession with the fact that I think that everyone should be recording and documenting and saving everything, even if it never goes anywhere. I love the idea of people having just like whether it's physical boxes of tapes or like a computer full of files or whatever, just because like I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'd be doing this podcast for so long if I didn't think there was value in everyone's weird recordings, like there's whether it ever comes out or you go back to it 10 years from now and be like, oh shit, this is cool. I'm gonna, share it with someone. Like there's the fact that you can record everything, especially with a band that is like live driven and is improv driven and jam driven, like it makes complete sense that you're documenting all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We
like
actually did release one live album, sort of. Demoniac.
it wasn't not live. I mean, you could say it's live. It's just for us. Yeah, we got like in that same vein, like a couple of things that we put in our Bandcamp, like Demoniac and The Realm Hereafter. We're just fun because we record everything, and like we'd forget about it, and then I'd be going through files or stuff or tapes with The Realm Hereafter, and like, wow, this is cool. Like you don't even realize it at the time because you re-record everything, but then and it's kind of arbitrary what you happen to find, because. But yeah, as long as you luck out.
Well, what makes something that you want to keep then? Because like you said, you have all these recordings, and I'm sure that like no one wants to sit there and go through all of them necessarily. But what are you looking for that actually makes something worthwhile to release from your perspective out of a jam?
The chill that goes down your spine. And
The free song.
Sometimes we'll make these recordings, and like a year later, Curtis will bring us over. Hey, listen to this track we recorded like of October last year. Isn't it amazing? And we had totally forgotten recording it. There's a track that's going to be on the new album called Dissenter, and it was the original version was from a jam, and Curtis played it to me and said, "Hey, this song that we did." I think it would be great to work on for the album. And he played it for me, and I was like, I don't remember singing these words. So it's like I wrote a song without trying or remembering. I love that feeling.
Also, like with a pop song that we make up that has a melody, it might go on for 8 minutes, but like we can make it better. We can make it more concise. Because no one wants to hear all our endless, looking for every idea of something. But then sometimes there are things of a different nature that are more like sound experiments and stuff, and the meshing of all the different weirdo sounds we're making together, which you couldn't just recreate. We're not gonna work like Demoniac as an example. We're not just gonna, we're not gonna rehearse that. There's not a second.
It's like 45 minutes long.
It's half an hour.
It's half an hour.
Half an hour.
Well, how does that work with live stuff then? I mean, are there certain songs that you just don't do live because they can't be replicated, or I mean, do you just kind of write them out of the set list?
Well, like that kind of stuff, like those sound experiment stuff, they're just one-offs. We don't songs like the kind of stuff that'll be on our albums. Those are stuff we can play,
And sometimes we'll wander down that improv route during a live concert, and and do whatever we feel like and sing a birthday song for a friend in the audience, or we'll just get distracted during a song and follow whatever tangent we're on.
Yeah, it's kind of thrilling because it could fail very badly in front of all these people. That's kind of the fun of it, I guess. I guess you got to be kind of in the right mood, or I don't know. If you've gotten lucky, I don't think any of them gone badly. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
But that can be like a fail in front of a crowd. If in front of a crowd can be like a silver lining in the sense that like you can come up with something so cool that it like offends the audience, but like it evokes some kind of emotion from the crowd, right? Like I've been in bands that did that and like made horrible noises that no one liked, but like you find something out of that and you're like, oh, this part was super cool, even though everyone ran away screaming or whatever. Like there's something to it that evoked that, so you can potentially use it, especially if you're using bits of improvisation and stuff.
Yeah,
that reminds me of a story. Early on in the band's career, like I think that the first concert where we felt sort of like real excitement from the crowd, we played at the King's Hotel, and we were doing like a lot of punky numbers, and it was like a punk rock Thursday, and people were going crazy, and there were like people jumping on the stage and diving into the audience and stuff. And then we finished and they went wild and they started like cheering for an encore. But this is early on, so we didn't have many more songs. So we just like for the encore, we did an improv, and the wild ecstatic cheering from the rest of our set sort of faded away to bemused wonderment at our strange improv.
We've done that. We have it's sort of the stupidest joke ever, but we have like an improv we sometimes play at shows called Snowy Gandalf.
Okay.
And the lyrics are, all my exes live in Texas on a snowy Gandalf, and it repeats. And it's different every time because we don't know how it goes. And it's not funny. It's just
we haven't done it in years though, but
it's funny to me because it's like,
I didn't know we did this.
were you there? We've
I
done it like a 2 or 3 shows.
that's pre-Jordan. Yeah.
Because I was trying to think of it. Me and Jeff were talking one night, and I was trying to think of like just a stupid name. I said Snowy Gandalf.
It's pretty good. So if people are hearing you for the first time on this show and they want to hear what you have out now, I mean, like I know you have the one album out already. Hopefully, just being a podcast, someone could hear it a year from now, and by then you'll have another one out. You also have those other recordings available. What's the best way to find you online to hear what you're doing?
Bandcamp. Yeah. The inflatable bandcamp.com. No, I think it's the inflatableband.com. Inflatableband.bandcamp.
We don't know, so
I'll put a link to it. I'll figure out what it is, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes. People can just click on it.
Something to that effect.
Also, I think the Facebook page is pretty fun because there's lots of videos of complete shows from the past and so on, and snippets, and
Well, there's a couple.
there's a couple.
There's not a lot.
yeah.
Do you have any tentative plans to play any shows at this point, or is it still sort of too early to know if that's even possible?
Supposed to play one.
We're supposed to play one with Greg, right?
Oh yeah, we do have one for Space Doxa.
That's
Oh,
right.
cool.
In May, yeah.
Yeah, I actually had Greg on talking about that. And he mentioned you guys. That's right. Yeah.
I listened to that. I was tickled pink about what you guys were saying about us. It was so nice.
Aw.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that to talk about though. I mean, that is like that stuff that Greg's doing, and the whole Space Doxa thing is very experimental. It's very weird and outsider kind of art. And I mean, like you have elements of that for sure, especially in the improv stuff. But I mean, what is it? Do you have to prepare differently to do something like that? Are you going into a show like that saying we're going to play these pop songs, or is it just going to be we're going to just do the Gandalf thing or whatever for 25 minutes?
We might do more of that. I don't know. We haven't talked about it, but Greg always says he just appreciates the band, and he really likes the fact that our songs come from jams and we do improv because he's all into that.
They all come
Yeah.
from improv. Every except not all of them actually.
Not every single one, but
There's a couple actually, but
yeah.
I think playing Space Doxa, we would feel very free knowing the kind of things that
Yeah.
do get played at Space Doxa, right?
That's
Yeah.
probably bring one of my synthesizers.
Yeah, we'll do something.
Like do some weird stuff.
We'll just feel weird while we're there, so it'll come natural.
Well, you're like the rare actual band that's playing there too, right? Usually, I mean, some of the other stuff is like a guy, beating someone with a stick and screaming or whatever. So like you have a little bit more of a traditional, and I mean that's guy beating someone with a stick and screaming sounds like it'd be really fun to watch. But you have a more traditional sort of setup.
Yeah, I didn't really know that much about Space Dogs, but from what you say, I mean, probably something like that, we would change up our approach maybe. Like we might not even play any of our actual songs. We might just get like a certain, I don't know.
There are 4 of us. We could have 4 sticks.
Yeah.
That's right.
We pretty much played it before. So yeah, we haven't really talked about it, but we've played
That's
for Greg
the
a few
name.
times.
Yeah, we played the Graffiti Gallery.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, have you figured out sort of who your audience is? I mean, I know that like like you said, there's those people who like the weird stuff. There's kind of the punk element of it. Who is the Inflatable Band's audience?
Open-minded punks.
Open-minded punks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, slightly arty punks.
Yeah.
People who happen to hear it and happen to like it.
Yeah.
I think that's the main audience.
There was a great time we did a show at Bulldog Pizza, and this lady who had been randomly assigned to work the door, she came up to me after and bought a CD and said, I wanted to buy this because I've never heard a band like you before. And that, what better compliment could you get?
Yeah, for sure.